forgive me, was there an oh shit moment when you were like, oh my God, this is happening. We're opening a brewery.
Yeah, that happens every morning.
Wait a minute. I'm receiving something. It's Transmitter Brewing. By the way, who are you and why are you here?
I'm Peter. I'm the bar manager over at Beer Culture.
I'm Matt Gebhardt, owner of Beer Culture. We're brewing BC1.
BC1 is a house beer that you have at Beer Culture. Is that correct?
That is correct. It's a Belgian-style farmhouse, dry hopped, and we use a little bit of Brett to give it a little wild side.
You guys have a relationship with Transmitter, so you're able to come in here and brew and create this beer for your own bar?
That's exactly correct.
This is Anthony Carty, owner, brewer. There are two of us, so I'm one half of it.
One half of Transmitter Brewing.
Yep, Rob Kolb, and I own Transmitter with Anthony Carty.
We're good friends with these guys. They brew wonderful beers. We sell a lot of their stuff as is. We decided that it'd be a great idea for us to make our own house brew with these guys, and that's exactly what we're doing.
And when did you get this little going concern going?
Just had our year anniversary last month.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
And it's been quite the year, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's sort of been nonstop. You know, just can't really stop.
Tell us about the story, about the journey of the past year.
When we started, Anthony and I both had our day jobs. I actually still have my day job, so this is nights and weekends for me now. So we brew every Saturday and Sunday. Once in a while, we'll do a batch in the middle of the week, but pretty regularly, it's just on the weekends. Anthony came full-time to Transmitter 2 weeks ago.
Wow, your first full-time employee.
Our first full-time employee. So when we started, we were 2.5 barrels, brewing basically 6 barrels a week. So that's 300 barrels a year. Right where we're standing right here, we have 2 more tanks on their way. We'll add 2 18-barrel fermenters, so we'll be able to hopefully add another brew a week. And now we're talking about, you know, close to 1,000 barrels a year.
More than triple.
Yeah, so we basically triple capacity in the first 6 months.
And that's craft brewing, ladies and gentlemen, especially here in New York City, which has a slamming beer scene right now. The craft beer scene in New York City is absolutely blowing up these days.
It's blowing up, but there's still 22 breweries right now in a city of 8.5 million people. So brewery per capita is ridiculously low.
I hadn't thought about putting it in those terms.
Right, like if we had as many breweries per capita as Vermont, New York City would have 750 breweries. So I mean,
that's something to shoot for.
I homebrewed for 25 years, and then a few years ago, Rob and I started homebrewing together. Made it more fun again to have, you know, a partner helping out. We were starting to make pretty big batches of homebrew, upwards of 50 gallons in a day. So we're starting to make more beer than we could possibly drink. We joked about opening a brewery. At some point we stopped joking. You know, in New York City, it's really all about real estate, finding the right place, the right time. We lucked out. My wife walks over the bridge every morning. We saw a sublet for this space. It seemed rough, but perfect for our needs. It all happened pretty quickly for us.
Precisely where are we? Because I think it's a really cool location.
So we're right in between the Long Island Railroad tracks and the Newtown Creek, underneath the Pulaski Bridge.
And the Pulaski Bridge is one of the main arteries that connects Brooklyn with Queens, and actually, side note, is on the route of the New York City Marathon. The marathon goes right over the bridge, which is over our heads pretty much, coming from Brooklyn and going into Queens.
And we're kind of nestled down here in a really commercial part of Long Island City, where some of the other breweries are a little bit more residential. We're very commercial, and we kind of like it. It's you know, our little oasis down here.
All right, hold on a minute. Are you confused? You keep hearing Queens, you keep hearing Long Island City. Where exactly is this place? Is it in Long Island City? Yes. Is it in Queens? Yes, because Long Island City is a neighborhood of Queens. Get it? And Queens is one of the 5 boroughs of New York. So Long Island City is part of Queens, which is part of New York City. Everybody clear? All right, let's get back to the beer. It feels extremely industrial, but it's also homey. I walked in, I was kind of like, oh, I want to hang out here.
We have a small tasting and bottle room, and people come and hang out and do samples. And, you know, there was a line out the door and, you know, 30 people standing around in here.
Wow.
Like, we had no idea what to expect, you know. but people are into it and they love being in the middle of the brewery and being a part of something that's...
Now, you guys do something that's really, really interesting that we've never covered before, and that is you basically run a brewery CSA.
We have a CSB, Community Supported Brewery, where
CSB.
you basically sign up for 6 months. You pay for the bottles up front, you know, your choice of 2 glasses, a shirt, or a hat, and then every month you come and pick up 2 bottles of your choice.
It's 2 bottles of your choice, whatever you want.
We usually have anywhere from 3 to 5 different beers for sale at any given time. So they could take 2 of the same or 2 different ones, or take 2 and buy 1. If you're a part of the CSB, you get a 13% discount.
And that selection rotates, right? Because you're always brewing different things?
Yeah, some of our beers sell out in a week. Some will last for a couple weeks. Generally, at least every other week, we're changing beer.
And talk a little bit about your style. I know you guys specialize in Farmhouse Ale, so for those of our audience who may not know what that means, could you explain that?
I think Farmhouse is more of a philosophy of making beer. Anthony does most of the recipe development, and you know, he's certainly using whatever hops he's got his hands on. We source hops from all over the world, as do all brewers, but we're really interested in some of the newer European varieties that are come out.
So basically, you get a rotating lineup of ingredients, and you're creating a rotating lineup of beers.
Exactly. So no flagships. We don't brew to any schedule. We have 20 different yeasts in the brew house, so it depends what yeast needs to be used and what hops we have, and we'll, you know, order grain to kind of fill in around that, and that's how we sort of make beer.
You guys look a little bit like expectant fathers. The good gentlemen of beer culture. We have featured you guys on the show before. It's been a little while since we've actually featured you on the show, so tell us a little about what's been happening with the bar lately. I know you guys have gotten very, very popular.
Well, we're going to be 2 in July. So July 24th, we're going to be 2 years old. We made some changes to the menu.
A lot of people calling you home now, basically.
Yeah, that's for sure. More and more people are becoming friends, and it's a really nice community out there that enjoys good beer, and we're happy to provide.
And it's a great bottle shop, and they're always spinning vinyl, and it's an amazing place to hang out. If you're ever in Midtown and want a great craft bar to hang out in, right here. And very likely, you'll be able to taste this beer while you're there. This very beer that's being brewed right now.
Or possibly pick it up in a bottle and take it home to share with your friends.
BC1.
And you know, Mark Aldrich, the other happy hour guy, has a great point, which is it really speaks to the talent and creativity of craft brewers like this when you've got guys making farmhouse ales in such an urban setting. So what's it like when you have a brand new craft brewery collaborating with one of our favorite beer bars in Manhattan? Well, we quote Louis Armstrong. What a wonderful world.
You live in New York City, you live in Brooklyn, and your business is in your backyard.
Yeah, and I get to walk to work every day, and that's pretty cool.
This is a tough question to answer, but what's the future look like for you guys here in this space?
So this space, we're gonna add 2 fermenters and replace some of the smaller stuff in front. The brew house will never get any bigger than 6 barrels, so this will probably or hopefully turn into a barrel facility, and we'll make beer somewhere else with, you know, a 20-barrel brewery and a full tap room, you know.
And that'll happen someday, at some point.
Yeah, I mean, you know, hopefully in 2 years, you know. Definitely not 5 years and not next year, so.
You know, again, like I feel like I was born to make stuff, and making photographs for artists is cool and great. Making beer for people to drink is amazing. The interesting thing is, you know, in my old profession, I had about 100 people that cared about what I did. Now I'm making beer, there are potentially in New York City 8 million people care. So the audience is much broader, and that's an interesting dynamic, you know, to be involved in that kind of possibility.
First of all, if you're within, as we say, 500 nautical miles of this location, you really have to come out here and take a look at Transmitter Brewing. They're doing some really cool stuff. Farmhouse, Belgian-inspired ales, but really with their own twist on it. They're in a, dare I say, a beautiful industrial location, which sounds like an oxymoron, but in this place, it is not. And it is definitely worth the trip to get on the 7 train and come out here to Long Island City, meet these guys, and taste some of their beer. Thank you so much for having us, Rob.
Come visit and drink beer. Drink Transmitter beer, you know?
Safety first.